Greetings, my name is Neosekken, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Higurashi When They Cry Chapter 3. A lot of stuff happened in Chapter 3. A lot of very interesting little things that all basically tie up together in a nice, neatly wrapped little package that's called Mindfuck. The last episode was a big mindfuck. Simply put, a lot of stuff has happened ever since Keiichi woke up that morning. That's basically making us both start to question his sense of reality. Especially towards the end of the last episode, where it turns out that as we tried to find the corpse of the man that we thought we killed last night, after going through an entire day. That basically undermined us having killed anybody at all. Also, we could find proof, hey, did we actually kill somebody? And if we did, can we verify their identity? If we actually got the right man. And, well, when we ended up digging that hole, the corpse was gone. Or rather, to be more accurate, it looked like as though there was no signs of the corpse having ever been there to begin with. It did look like well, actually, no, that's not right. I mean, the corpse is gone. The place that we supposedly dug the corpse a hole for and buried under, it still looked as though it was dug up not too long ago, but the corpse was gone. So, after going over the entirety of the last episode's events, I think it might very well be possible that Keiichi might have hallucinated the past couple days of him basically playing to and then eventually killing Satoko's uncle. And I gotta say, that's indeed what's going on here. That was one hell of a long-ass hallucination, or series of hallucinations. But the very fact that there were still some of the tools he used in the location where he buried the body tells me that at least some of what happened last night had to have occurred. I'm just questioning just how much of what actually happened, well, it was actually real. Because at this point, I'm feeling less inclined to think that I might have stumbled into some parallel universe and that maybe Keiichi is starting to lose his marbles again. I mean, for crying out loud, his behavior towards the end of the episode in particular, when faced with any kind of betrayal, which was first initiated by Dr. Irie, well, he's now just basically trying to go around in his head cursing people to die, because, well, he found out Takano died, so therefore he must have some kind of special power. So yeah, I'm kind of inclined to believe that Keiichi is kind of losing his marbles right now. But the biggest mystery I had at the end of it was just trying to figure out what the hell is causing him to lose his marbles? Because I'm still struggling to figure that out exactly. Because there's no obvious cause that's really standing out to me, or even a hint of an actual cause. I'm hoping eventually I'll get some kind of answer on this thing here, because I would hate to have a repeat of Chapter 1's ending, where he just basically, I don't know, dies of a freaking shock or something, and we just get yet another cliffhanger ending. One way to find out, I guess. So let's hit continue. The body wasn't there. The police didn't arrest me because of that, but I didn't know whether to feel happy about it. Just like Satoko had said, I'd failed to kill her uncle. The body wasn't there, so I was forced to conclude as much. No matter what strange natural disaster, coincidence, or miracle it might have implied. In order to free Satoko, I became a demon. And this abnormal world was my reward. Yes, metaphorically, I had fallen into the demon world. But if that price had been in exchange for the life of Satoko's uncle, then that would have been fine. Since Satoko's uncle was still alive, still shackling her to him, I need to become a demon once again. One more time. No, as many times as it took. I would kill that man over and over again until Satoko was liberated. I had already awoken. I looked at the clock to see that it was all early in the morning, at just about 5. It was already light outside. Once I hardened my resolve to become a demon again, I could feel my whole body teeming with the awakened power once more. Time wasn't an issue. No matter what, I'd do it. I got myself up. The exhaustion from the past 2 days was completely swept away, and I didn't even feel sleepy anymore either. I slowly rose and made sure my body was moving like I wanted it to. I could feel blood flowing through each and every one of my fingers. As I got dressed, I let my mind wander and had a strange thought. These 2 days, while I've said it was for Satoko's sake, the only thing on my mind has been killing. I said it was for Satoko, but while actually carrying out the act, I'd completely forgotten about Satoko, albeit only temporarily. Maybe initially it was for Satoko's sake, but now I was just a demon, killing for the sake of killing, and as a result, I'd sunk into a world fit for such a demon. Maybe it was the same for Satoshi. He resolved himself to kill his aunt to save Satoko, became a demon, then disappeared from the sunlit Hinamizawa, vanishing into the demon world. Which meant that, after all was said and done, I'd met the same fate as him. I tried to avoid making the same mistakes, but it happened anyway. Which meant that maybe Satoshi was here. Satoshi had come to this world a year before me, so he would be here somewhere. Then, surprised, I stopped walking, hearing footsteps again. There was a second set of footsteps I'd grown so used to hearing.
お前、ひょっとして、サトシなのか?
Could you be Satoshi? The empty, lifeless air wouldn't give me an answer, but I felt a strange kind of relief that there was someone there, that Satoshi had stuck with me the whole time. Let's go, Satoshi. Once more. This time we will set Satoko free for sure. I quietly slipped out of the house so my parents wouldn't notice. If they caught me now when I'd been out way too late for 2 days now, they'd give me a really angry talking to. I didn't have the time to allow for that to happen. Today, I had put an end to it. If the dead body disappeared, then I didn't have to bury it. I could just burn it to ashes, and then take them with me, so I could kill him again every time he resurrected. I guess that's one way to keep a phoenix down. I'd do it again. I'd kill him again. And this time, I'd set her free. Outside, the morning light was so beautiful as to stagger belief. I went to the storage room to find weapons with which I could kill him for sure. Blunt or not, it didn't matter to me. Right now, I didn't need to care whether someone saw, or if the police came. This world had gone crazy after all. I think it's you that's gone crazy. A world where I'd shown up at the festival and had fun, even though I wasn't there. Even if the police arrested me, I'd probably end up going right back home as if nothing had happened. Both me and the other Keiichi Maebara. Even without me, he'd fill in. I could vanish from Hinamizawa without anyone noticing. So basically, I didn't care if I was mistakenly killed. Even if I died, Keiichi Maebara would remain. After all, this isn't the world I belong in. If I was going to be killed mistakenly for Satoko's sake, then that was just part of my duty as her Nini. As those desperate thoughts became serious, the morning air felt more refreshing to me, strangely enough.
これは怖いな。
Oh, this one's scary.
こいつにするか。
Let's go with this. What do you have? It was a hatchet meant for chopping thick firewood. Don't forget to bury the hatchet. I'm sorry, that was a dumb joke. Its hefty steel blade was sinister, almost as though it was a tool meant for killing people. I wouldn't exactly take it out in public like that, so I wrapped it a little in some old newspaper and tossed it into the basket on my bike.
連日、悪い用事に使ってばかりで悪いな。
Sorry for using you for evil all the time.
今日も頼むぜ。俺の足。
I'll need you again today, my legs. I apologized to my bike for some reason. For the past 3 days, I've only used it for dangerous things. I've been riding this bike ever since I've lived in my old town. I could walk most places I wanted to go, so I hadn't used it all that much. My mom had bought it for me when I entered cram school, thinking it would be a convenient way to get to the station since it was far away. So I always used it to get back and forth from cram school. I'd only ever put textbooks and class materials in the front basket too. I never tried to put a hatchet that I'd be using to kill someone in here. When it came to Hinamizawa, life finally felt fun. I met the best friends ever, and had some of the greatest times ever. Those times might have been shattered now, but it was my greatest wish that I could get them back, even if I had to risk my life to do it. That's how fun those times had been. I killed someone. Now I was at it again, needing to kill someone. Murder was a crime. I didn't believe that people should ever think murder was okay. But still, the times I had were enjoyable enough for me to commit such a crime. My friends were irreplaceable, and the time I spent with them a treasure. Hanging out, laughing, sometimes tricking each other, but always in a friendly way. I didn't fear committing any crime, as long as it was for the sake of taking back those times that gave my heart so much pleasure. Yes, this was a value I decided to uphold. It wasn't something I learned from a school transfer. It was a noble path that I chose for myself. I thought back to when I first come to Hinamizawa. Of how on the very first day, Satoko had welcomed me via a blackboard eraser with a rock in it. That welcome really surprised the heck out of me. She would laugh, get angry, cry. She was never boring. She was obviously the most childlike one among us, but she was actually lively, full of vim and vigor, and good at meddling in other people's business. That went for me on Reina and Rika-chan too. It wasn't Satoko the one at the center of everyone's laughing and banter. Satoko would try to look cool. Then Mion would make fun of her endlessly. Then Satoko would cry, which would put Reina in a state of ecstasy. Rika-chan would be greatly delighted. And I happened to get mixed up in it. We would always fool around like that. It was lonely when someone wasn't around, but if I had to name one for whom it was the worst, it would have been Satoko. Her smile was everyone's smile. Ever since she stopped smiling, so did the rest of us. And for the rest of us, not smiling was the same as dying. It was just like when I was silently going to cram school every day, just to maintain my unchanging test scores. So, basically, we were nothing when she wasn't smiling. She was full of hot air, but she was our princess, cute and unhateable. In that case, I was her knight, searching for the dragon's castle in order to win her smile back.
ナイトなら武器は剣だろ。
Knights, of course, use swords.
ツーハンデッドのかっこいいやつ。
The awesome two-handed kind.
錆びた肉厚のナタで挑むナイトは、多分古今東西俺一人だな。
I'm probably the only knight in the history of the world to be taking someone on with a thick, rusty hatchet. You're probably dead wrong, though. No pun intended. Then I saw an old woman in the fridge of a field waving to me.
おや
Oh my.
ケイチくんかい
Keiichi-kun.
朝のサイクリングかいね
Now for a morning ride, I see.
おはようございます。
Good morning! I reflexively waved back in a refreshing way. Should I really have been feeling so happy, waving like that? Satoko's house would be right past this road, going beyond the rice paddies. The cicadas had woken up too, and the next thing I knew, I was the audience to their daily chorus. I gave myself a hit or two in the head, and drove away my merry morning mood. I took a deep breath, then tilted my head back, quelling my pointless excitement. The body wasn't there. Its absence either meant my killing him had been an illusion, or that I killed him and he'd risen from the dead. If I was at the festival, then maybe I should have considered it an illusion. Coach probably thought that way, which is why he treated me like a lunatic. But being an illusion was just impossible. I killed him without a doubt. Yeah, well, that's the thing about illusions, Keiichi. They tend to be very, very real to the ones experiencing them. So really, how can you say for sure that you actually experienced what you think you experienced? Especially given everything that we've seen up until this point, that's shown us that reality doesn't seem to match up to what we've been personally experiencing. Without a doubt. If that had been an illusion, then that would make all of this Hinamizawa I was in right now an illusion. If that was the case, then here's how it would end up. I was actually in a vegetative state due to a traffic accident, and I was currently dreaming in a hospital bed about how great it would be to spend time with friends in rice paddies like these. That was a terrifying thought, though. If this wasn't an illusion, then the only possible answer was that he'd resurrected. it would make him a literal monster. Or you could just dreamed that you killed him. But if he was such a monster, then I was no less than a monster myself. I didn't hesitate to kill someone, and I could even manipulate curses. Takano-sen had died probably because I'd cursed her. No. She seemed to have ended up dying regardless of any curses you might be able to have at your possession, as evidenced in the last 2 chapters. Or maybe that was just a little much. If Coach and Ushi died too, like I cursed them to yesterday, then I'd believe it. I set my bicycle aside and went to take a look. His motorbike wasn't here. Of course it wasn't. I sent it down to hell that night, throwing it into the Onikafuchi swamp. Or maybe, just like how the corpse wasn't here, maybe the motorbike didn't get thrown into the swamp either. The fact that his bike wasn't here might have been because he had gone to town and hadn't come back, not necessarily because I'd thrown it into the swamp. If her uncle wasn't around, then that was convenient on its own. Then I would just show myself in, then wait for him to return, sharpening my hatchet. You better hope Satoko's not in here then. And if she sees you with that hatchet, she might get scared. If he was here. If he was there. Forgotten sensations came back to my gut. A feeling of tension rose within me. The sensation was like poison, dulling my actions, but could also be the trigger to allow me to awaken into my superhuman, otherworldly self. I held the hatchet, still wrapped in newspaper. Its weight in my hands was profound, sinister, and reliable. I didn't know what time it was without a clock, but it was probably still a little before 7. Satoko would probably be awake, preparing breakfast and her lunch. But her uncle would probably still be wallowing in indolence. A guy like him probably would have stayed up late drinking, and probably always slept until noon. I considered ringing the doorbell and having Satoko open the door for me. But if her uncle woke up at the sound, I'd waste my chance of him still being asleep. If Satoko saw me sneaking inside without ringing the doorbell, she'd be surprised. If I ran into her, what would I say? I've come to kill your uncle for you, so stay quiet. Say you succeed getting in here, and you manage to kill him without Satoko noticing anything, then you leave. What are you going to do about the body? Right then and there. What's your escape plan with yourself and the body? How are you going to both get out of there while leaving zero trace whatsoever as to what actually happened in the room? Why am I even asking? Of course you haven't thought that far ahead. I couldn't do that. That would be like making Satoko responsible for his death. Be quiet and go wait outside. Maybe that would do it. How would Satoko react to that? She would probably try and get me to give up on killing him. Well, so ask yourself something. If she would try to stop you, why would she want to stop you from killing him? Why? That's the one question that I implored you to ask yourself before this whole mess began, and yet you still haven't done so. This whole thing is just going to end in tears again. I would have to lie somehow to get her to go outside. Satoko didn't need to know that a murder was going to occur in this house. I couldn't quite think of a good lie to tell her, but I couldn't do much just standing around like this. I made up my mind and grabbed the doorknob, then slowly turned it and pulled. It wasn't locked. That's reckless, leaving your front door unlocked. The gap between the door and the wall steadily grew larger. The chain wasn't even on. The oppressive smell of life in Satoko's house hit me. At the entrance, there were a few pairs of shoes and sandals. I couldn't tell whether he was here or not just by looking at them. I could hear a television on somewhere. What a mess. Good lord, look at this shit. The television was in the messy dining room. There was food scattered about the table, giving an impression decidedly different from a happy family's mealtime. Meals were for eating food while thanking the person for making it. Meaning whatever occurred in this dining room wasn't a meal. Nobody in sight. No sign of anyone either. But with the television on, he must have been close. Could he have anticipated my coming and be hiding, waiting for me? The tension I felt was so thick, so tight that I thought it would choke me. The newspaper, wrapping the hatchet's thick blade, didn't hamper its power at all. I tightened my grip on it, then, very carefully, took a look around. Or had those peaceful feelings from before I arrived here gone? Even the sound of sweat bubbling up to my brow got on my nerves. And then, I looked at the table and realized something. This wasn't breakfast. The grains of boiled rice were all hard and dried up. Then, was it last night's dinner? Well, you are pretty early in the morning, you know. That in itself may not necessarily be strange. I left the dining room, keeping vigilant, went down the hallway, and found the stairs to the second floor. When that man was playing with his friends, he looked out of his second-story window. It was highly possible that room was his own, and that he slept there. I tiptoed up the edges of the stairs, quietly climbing, without making a sound. I couldn't hear any kind of snoring. I didn't hear anything up there. I went through a few rooms, slowly and quietly opening the paper doors, checking inside, but I still couldn't find anyone around. To search more efficiently, I got down on the floor and pressed my ear right up to it. I could hear the television in the dining room, and a low hum, perhaps, of boiling water. It was then that I started to harbor some feelings of suspicion. This house wasn't right. It seemed like people had been here since the TV was on, but it wasn't normal for nobody to be around this early in the morning. I silently descended the stairs and went back to the dining room. I looked at the food scattered about. Completely dried up rice. An overturned bowl of miso soup. The package for the side dish bought at the supermarket. could tell Satoko had definitely been the one who made this. She did mention that he poured a bowl of miso soup on her yesterday, that morning. So, if that's the same bowl, then has all this stuff been untouched since that yesterday morning? The food was far from Mion's perfection or Reina's gentleness, but it was sincere. Judging by how she cooked for me at my house, from the type and amount of side dishes, I deduced the meal was from last night. The number stamped into the food package read 830620. June 20th, 1983. That was yesterday. And there was food for two, which meant that this was last night's dinner, and Satoko's uncle would have been here then. Stop it, Keiichi. Don't even think about saying the word impossible again. Anyway, her uncle was here last night. That much was the truth. He had found fault with Satoko's food, thrown the bowl of miso soup and flung the rest everywhere. Hidden deep within my feelings of calm and composure was lit a flame of anger and a curse. Should I have ever shown this man any mercy? Bump. I heard the sound again. The one from before, like a water boiler. What was it coming from? First floor? But where? The bathroom, maybe? I could hear the noise coming from the other side of the frosted glass at the far end of the changing room. It had to have been the sound of the water boiler for the bath. Steam was enshrouding the glass door, and heat from it was leaking into the changing room where I was standing, too. Somebody must be taking a bath. My misgivings deepened. People didn't normally take a bath this early in the morning. If one did, then it would mean that in this house, time had been stopped ever since some moment last night. Whistle, whistle, whistle. Was it being reheated? The water boiler in the bathroom had been active this whole time. I checked in a clothing basket and saw Satoko's familiar uniform stuffed in it. The uniform had stains and dried rice stuck to it. Certainly not something she could wear today. It was probably from the miso soup at the dinner table yesterday. I looked hard at the frosted glass, but I couldn't see anything through all the steam. And then, an electric surge ran through my mind, and a terrible premonition overcame me. Could she couldn't possibly have been in there since last night. That would be impossible. But no. Hina Mizawa, right now, nothing was impossible. I gulped audibly, then quietly pulled aside the glass door. Hot, steaming air burst out of the slight opening. The fan wasn't on in the changing room, so it went completely white with the steam. But just as the hot vapor poured into the changing room, cooler air also flowed into the room with the bath. And I just heard, due to being hit by that air, a very weak moan. That was all I needed to know who it was.
Satoko!
Satoko! No answer. Satoko was in the bathtub, surrounded by a thick layer of rising steam. You might want to get some medical assistance in here. The top half of her body was leaning over the edge of the tub, and she was passed out. The water boiler kept on making a whistling noise, as if angered. I could see the gas flame through a small window. It was roaring at full force, completely blue. Satoko's entire body was boiled red and flaccid, as though her bones had melted away. She was almost like a doll, as she laid there unconscious. I wasn't sure how many seconds passed as I stared in complete bafflement. I came back to my senses and promptly shut off the boiler. Then, I dragged Satoko's small body out of the bathtub. The water in it was as hot as the water in public baths. Was she in this boiling water for the entire night? Call for help! She'll die. She'll die! Satoko's body was lighter than I expected as I laid her on the floor and wrapped her in a towel. I went back into the bathroom and opened up the vent, creating a path for a cool breeze to come through. Upon the breeze hitting her, Satoko moaned again. He'll be alright, Satoko! It's me, Keiichi! Do you understand? Can you hear me? Keiichi? Satoko recognized me and muttered a response, but I couldn't really tell what she was saying. Her eyes were muddy and unfocused. I could tell she wasn't completely conscious. Upon closer inspection, her limbs and waist were twitching slightly. This was way worse than normal overheating. This was dangerous. Didn't they call this heat stroke? Think. What would the teacher do if a girl passed out in the middle of summer during a marathon in gym class or something? I turned the water faucet in the kitchen all the way on and soaked a towel in it. Then I took the cold towel and pressed it to Satoko's forehead. Satoko reacted harshly to the coldness and let out a muffled voice. For burns. Right, he would soak the burned spot under running water. Then, could I run cold water in the shower and cool her off like that? No. If it was that sudden, it wouldn't be good for her heart, and she'd go into shock. I think I read that once before. This is about as much as nursing as I could possibly give her. Anything more than this would be too much for the likes of an amateur. What happened, Satoko? You're all right now. Your Nini will save you for sure. 5,039. What? Huh? What was Satoko reciting under her breath? I brought my ear to her mouth to make out the mysterious, spell-like words she kept saying. And at that moment, I understood what they were for. Satoko, you're counting? Why? People tell little kids in the bath to count to 100 a lot, right? Satoko was counting like that. But 5,039? You moron! How long were you supposed to count in your own bathtub? doubted my ears and doubted her common sense. 10,000?
ふざけんなバカ野郎
You're a freaking idiot!
1万なんて数えられるバカがどこにいるんだよ
What kind of dumbass can count to 10,000? I could.
数えられるわけねえだろ
There's no way you could do that!
その前に湯だって死んじまうに決まってんだろ
You'd boil to death before you got that far!
どうしてこんなことに
Why were you...
おじ
Uncle. Last night, her uncle flew into a rage at the dinner she'd made, saying it stunk and was inedible. Satoko didn't understand what on earth he meant. It wasn't much different than what she usually made for him. Maybe he hated the smell of the pickled vegetables she bought in particular. Her uncle then decided the stink was originating from Satoko, and shouted at her that she never ever took baths. And then, he put Satoko in the boiling water and told her not to come out until she counted 2. He's turned into a fucking baboon now. I snapped and exploded. Raising a newspaper-wrapped hatchet, I stampeded through the house. I searched for anything. Traces, signs, smells, vibrations, heartbeats. With a war cry, I raced up the stairs with such force I could have stomped a hole through them. Then I found the futon in the room I thought to be her uncle's, and well aware he wasn't sleeping in it, I bashed it with the hatchet. Do you run to the closet? I'll bust the entire closet down, door and all! And if he's not there, maybe there's a secret door. Any switches or levers in the walls here? I smashed into wall after wall with the hatchet, crushing them. Dust rose into the air, and broken pieces scattered about the floor. I smashed all the glass windows too, for good measure. Somebody restrain this guy before he ends up seriously hurting himself or Satoko. Or anybody that doesn't deserve to get caught in the crossfire. After I destroyed everything beyond recognition in her uncle's room, my reason finally kicked in and suppressed my emotions. Anyway, her uncle wasn't in the house right now. I'd have to leave killing him until later. Right now, I had to do something about Satoko. I went back to the changing room. Satoko was still lying limp on the floor. There was nothing more an amateur like me could do for her. I needed to take her to the clinic. Coach had treated me like a lunatic yesterday and tried to lock me up in a mental hospital. I never wanted to see his damn face again. But I still need to go to the infirmary one more time. I need to have a doctor look at Satoko. I thought about putting her in her dirty uniform lying in the laundry basket. But I had no experience dressing someone, so it would be pretty difficult. Shit. I don't have time to be wasting here. Eventually, I gave up on clothing her and decided to carry her in her bath towel. The clinic was close to Satoko's house. It'd be way faster to carry her there than to call 119 and get an ambulance. I threw the biggest towel I could find over her and prompted her to stand.
立てるか
Can you stand?
俺が診療所までおぶって行ってやるから
I'll carry you over to the clinic.
ありがとうですわ
Thank you. Her words sounded clearer than before. She was starting to come back. I cried tears of relief just knowing she'd improved even a little bit. Satoko turned over so she was lying on her face, and then put up a weak struggle to get up on a knee. I smoothly swept her up and put her on my back. The towel I put on her seemed like it was about to fall off. Towel? It hurts.
すぐ着くから、しばらくの間だけ我慢してろ。
We'll be there soon. It won't be long, so stay strong. It didn't hurt one bit to carry Satoko. She was light. Too light. The lightness actually made me uneasy. Outside, it had gotten hotter, as though eager to attack Satoko. Fucking cicadas. Why did I have to choose this morning to get so hot out? I didn't have time to swear at them. The clinic was this way. Hoisting Satoko on my back, I broke into a trot. The hilly road to the clinic, which I had never had difficulties before, was now tortuous. Big beads of sweat formed on my brow, and at some point, my breath had grown faint. The hatchet in my belt was heavy and made it hard to walk. I considered leaving it, but I couldn't let it go. At least not while Satoko's uncle was still breathing. Well, you better leave it then at the very least before you go into the clinic. Otherwise, people are going to see it and then they're going to think you're up to something. Which, well, you are, and it wouldn't be wrong to assume that. The signboard for the Irie clinic came into sight. But I quickly noticed something was odd, so I stopped. Several red revolving lights were flashing at the clinic. 3 police cars were packed in the parking lot with their lights on. There didn't need to be much else to inform me something had happened. I didn't want to see Coach, so I'd planned to leave Satoko in the clinic waiting room and give the receptionist a message. But with that police officer Ushi here, I couldn't go inside so carelessly. What's going on?
パトカーがいっぱい
Why are
い
there
ますですわよ。
so many police cars? That's... well, if I had to guess, maybe somebody got murdered here. I gently put Satoko down in the shade of the thicket. Or maybe somebody dropped a lot of hot coffee in somebody's lap.
わからない。
And they wanted to file a police report. I don't know.
様子を見てくるから、しばらくここにいろ。
I'll go see what happened. So you stay here for a moment.
レディをバスタオル1枚でこんなとこに置いてくなんてなってませんわね。
Leaving a lady in a place like this wearing nothing but a bath towel. Simply unforgivable.
それだけ悪態がつけりゃ大丈夫だ。
If you can still fire off those insults, you'll be fine. I'll be right back, I added, getting to my feet. Cautious of my surroundings, I hid myself behind a car and got closer to the officers grouped at the clinic's entrance. I overheard an officer wearing a necktie, probably their leader, and a white-robed doctor having a discussion about something. The doctor didn't seem to be Coach. It was one of those who Coach told to make the tea yesterday.
じゃあつまり最初に見つけたのは朝当番のあなただったと。
So you were the first one to find it, since you were on morning duty.
それで
So then,
どんな感じだったんです？
what did it look like?
事務室の所長席のソファーに座って居眠りをしているように見えました。
He was sitting on the sofa in the head office. He looked like he was taking a nap.
で、机の上に水差しと空き瓶になった睡眠薬があったんで、 あなたはすぐに睡眠薬で自殺したんだと考えたと。
There was a jug and an empty bottle of sleep medication on his desk, so you immediately thought he had tried to commit suicide with it. Don't tell me. Is Coach dead?
それで
What else?
高熱と瞳孔の拡大に重度の意識障害も見られました。
His high temperature and dilated pupils indicate a severe disturbance of consciousness.
睡眠薬中毒の典型的な重症例だと思いましたので、
It seems
直
like
ちに対応に入りました。
it seems like a typical case of sleeping pill poisoning, so I immediately began to treat him,
警察も救急も呼ばずに
without calling the police or an ambulance.
ここは病院で私は医師ですよ。
This is a hospital, and I'm a doctor. Thank you. I was just about to point that out.
生命が危険な状態にあるなら、直ちに治療して当然です。
Since his life was in danger, it's my job to treat him at once.
ああ、まあいいから。それで
Yes, I understand. Okay. What else?
呼吸が不正常だったので、人工呼吸を施しました。
His breathing was in disarray, so I put him on a respirator.
合わせて呼吸刺激薬を投与。
I also administered breathing stimulants.
効果が出なかったので、人工呼吸器の準備をし、
It had no effect, so I prepared a medical ventilator. And,
ああ、はい。
right.
それでつまりいろいろ頑張ったけど結局ダメだったと。
So, in other words, you did what you could, but it wasn't enough.
そういうわけですよね。
That's it, right?
通報は死んでから直ちに
You reported this as soon as he died.
はい、
Yes.
救うことができず、とても残念です。
It was very unfortunate that we were unable to save him. Just then, a radio in one of the police cars started to buzz, producing a broken, mechanical voice.
こちら本部。
This is HQ. HQ.
小宮山さん、聞こえますか？どうぞ。
Komiyama-san, can you hear me? Over.
もしもし
Hello.
小宮山です。
This is Komiyama.
ああ、お疲れ様です。
We've come up with something.
睡眠薬での自殺みたいですね。
It looks like he committed suicide with sleeping pills.
遺書の類はなし。
No notes or anything. Suicide. What the heck were they talking about? Someone committed suicide at the clinic. But who? I wish Takano-san dead, and she died the next day. And yesterday I wish Coach was dead. Then, could he have?
普段から睡眠薬を常用していたとかは。
Do you use sleeping medication regularly?
あまり知りません。
I don't really know.
日頃疲れたとか死にたいとかそんなこと言ってました？
Did he normally complain that he was tired or wanted to die?
入江先生は普段からああいう性格でしたから。
Well, Irie sensei was normally well himself. So it was freaking Coach.
とてもそんな風には。
He never acted like that. I don't know. I'm not ready to write this off as Keiichi might actually having powers here or special cursed powers or anything like that yet. I'm more inclined to think that this is just a freaky coincidence. So I was right. Irie sensei. They were talking about Coach. Coach killed himself. Why would he do that? There couldn't have been any reason he wanted to die. The only reason that came to mind was that I wanted him dead. Well, let's see. There was the only thing I can possibly think of, and no. As far as I'm aware, he and Takano don't have any kind of relationship of any kind besides a working one, so I can't see how her death might be connected to his in any way. This world was insane. If I want someone dead, they'd die. That was the kind of world this was. Then, what about Ushi? What happened to him? If people really died because I wanted them to, then something should have happened to him too.
そちらに応援が向かいました。
I sent you back
課
up.
長からそちらは応援に任せて大石社の捜索に戻るとのことです。
The chief wants you to leave the rest to them and get back to searching for Ushi's car.
了解しました。
Well, he's missing then.
じゃあすいません。
Yes, sir. Please excuse me then.
こっちに今応援が来てるそうですから、現場はこのままにしておいてください。
It looks like we're getting relieved here, so please leave everything as it is right now.
おい、行くぞ。
Alright, let's go. The officers nodded and split up into the patrol cars. Did they just say searching for Ushi's car? Searching for his car. That meant he had gone missing? Takano-san, Coach, and Ushi. There's also Tomataki. That's 4 people dead. When I wished for it, the very next day, they disappeared. No matter how angry you were when you said you wished someone was dead, it didn't normally happen. Everyone knew just wishing for it wouldn't make them dead, and that's why people could utter such curses so lightly. But the curses I uttered were being granted. At the time, I hadn't even been walking, and yet... Tap. I heard a footstep. And it wasn't only one this time. Tap. Tap. They came from behind. And they stood right behind me, reaching a hand for my shoulder.
一体何事なんですの？
Hi, Satoko. I thought it was you, actually. Would you mind telling me what's going on?
サトコか。
Satoko?
脅かすなよ。
Don't scare me like that.
驚いたのはこっちでしてよ。
I'm the scared one here.
いきなり大声を出さないでくださいまし。
I prefer if you didn't shout so suddenly. It was Satoko. Her eyes were still unstable, unfocused. But she seemed able to at least walk on her own now. She looked far better now compared to her earlier exhausted state.
具合はどうなんだ？
How do you feel?
もう大丈夫なのか？
Are you better?
まだ頭が痛いですけど、
My head still hurts.
いつまでもこんな格好で表にいられませんもの。
But I can't stay outside looking like this forever. She gave a smile, a show of courage, but her legs were still shaky.
それより、これは一体何事なんですの？
Anyway, what on earth is going on?
今、警察が話してるのを聞いてた限りじゃ。
From what I just heard the police talking about,
監督が自殺したらしい。
Coach apparently committed suicide. え? Satoko was at a loss for words. Her face grew paler and paler. I could tell she was doubting her own ears.
ケイチさん、それ、
Keiichi-san, that...
本当ですの？
is that true?
何かの聞き間違いじゃないんですの？
I didn't mishear you?
確かにそう聞いたよ。
That's what I heard.
入江先生が睡眠薬で自殺したって。
They said Irie sensei killed himself with sleeping pills. Satoko went down on her knees and broke out in tears.
嘘ですわ。
It can't be.
監督が自殺なんて、
Coach,
そんなの絶対に。
he would never ever kill himself. As I watched Satoko cry and incline at the grass, I felt myself trapped by guilt and remorse. I got so angry that Coach was treating me like a madman yesterday. That he betrayed me. That I'd thought he'd be better off dead. But even Coach, who to me deserved to die, still must have had people who loved and respected him. You really should have thought of that before sincerely wishing for him to die then, huh, buddy? Like Satoko here. In my selfish, egotistical anger, I wished for his death, and it was granted. And now Satoko was crying hysterically as a result. The guilt tore at my heart. I worked myself up to murder for Satoko's sake. I decided I wanted Satoko to be happy. But was that really all it took? Of course it fucking didn't. Murder meant taking someone's life. It meant making everyone attached to that person sad. In Satoko's uncle's case, of course, nobody would be sad. So I didn't feel a sense of guilt at all. But Coach's death was different. I had wanted to make Satoko happy, and it had resulted in me inflicting a deep sadness upon her, hadn't it? But Coach killed himself. It wasn't my... Satoko still hadn't stopped crying, but she seemed to be a little calmer now. Wiping her tears, she stood up.
すまない。
I'm sorry. And the only thing I could think of to say to her was an apology.
どうして謝りますの？
Why are you apologizing?
俺、
well,
昨日監督とその
yesterday I
喧嘩して。
got into a fight with Coach,
お前なんか死んじまえって
and I thought
呪ったんだ。
that I wanted him to die.
呪ったから本当に死んじゃって。
I wanted it so he really... Satoko looked at me dubiously for a few moments. Eventually, her expression softened, as she interpreted my words in her own way.
ケイチさんのせいではありませんわ。
It isn't your fault, Keiichi-san.
監督も大人ですもの。
Coach was an adult too.
自分の命を捨てるに値する都合があって悩んだ末に選んだんですもの。
He felt like there was something he had to give his life for, and chose to do so after a lot of worrying and suffering.
誰のせいでもありませんわ。
It's not anyone's fault. It's heartwarming and also sad all at the same time how you're trying to help Keiichi with his guilt, even though, really, if anything, he should be the one that should be focusing on helping you out with your problems. You really got a good heart in you. She smiled a little, trying to comfort me.
いつまでもこのままでいたくありませんわ。
I do not want to be like this forever.
服が欲しい。
I want some clothes.
いいのかよ。
Are you okay?
診療所に行って見てもらった方が。
Shouldn't you get someone at the clinic to...
服を着てから見てもらっても別に死にはしませんわ。
I won't die from putting on clothes before going. Satoko readjusted her bath towel and started back along the path. Her stride was wobbly. It didn't look like she'd recovered as much as she let on. At first, Satoko tried to go back home, but it was a time of the morning when people were going to school and to work, so after seeing people walking around, she thought better of it. She must have been pretty embarrassed wearing only a towel.
理科の家に行きますわよ。
I'm going to Rika's house.
私の服、あるはずですから。
My clothes should be there.
どうしたんですの？
What's wrong?
ケイイチさん。
Keiichi-san? Satoko knows how I was hanging my head and spoke to me.
監督はああ見えても大人ですのよ。
Despite how he might have come off, Coach was an adult, alright?
ケイイチさんと喧嘩したくらいで自殺するような人ではありませんわ。
He would certainly not have killed himself after a petty fight with you, Keiichi-san.
自分を責めるのをおやしなさいませ。
Please stop blaming yourself. At first I thought it was a coincidence. But with 3 people now, I couldn't discard the possibility. There is no such thing as impossible in this world.
この数日、おかしいんだ。
These past few days haven't made any sense. Keiichi, if you're about to start rambling to her about everything that's happened in the past few days to you from your perspective, I can pretty much guarantee you Satoko's going to think you're nuts and try to get away from you, and then you're going to realize that you scared her, you're going to go chase after her or something, and then, well, God knows what's going to happen from that point onward. But I'm willing to bet actual money this time with 100% certainty it would not be anything good. So please, before you open your mouth, think about what it could lead to. And if you're fine with the consequences, then well, okay, then good on you, I guess, but I don't think you would be okay with it at all, so I beg you, shut up!
何がですの？
What hasn't? Satoko seemed to be having trouble breathing, but she still tried to listen to what I had to say.
おとといの綿流しのお祭り、お前は途中で帰ったから行かなかったんだよな。
At the Watanagashi festival the day before last. You went home on the way there, right?
そして俺は祭りに行ってみんなと遊んだ。
And I went there and had a lot of fun.
らしいですわね。
So it would seem.
あの時は取り乱して申し訳ありませんでしたわね。
I do apologize for getting so upset with you about it. Satoko remembered how she blew up at me in the classroom yesterday, and bowed to me a little.
実は俺、祭りに行っていないって言ったら信じるか？
If I said I actually didn't go to the festival at all, would you believe me? Satoko looked at me, confused. She couldn't help it, of course.
信じられるわけありませんわ。
Of course I wouldn't believe you.
何を今さら。
What are you on about?
信じられないだろ。
You wouldn't, right?
信じられないのは
I don't believe it
俺も
either.
だって、俺は祭りに行っていないのに、俺が祭りに現れてみんなと遊んだって言うんだ。
I mean, I didn't go to the festival, but everyone's saying I hung out with them
こん
there.
なの信じられるわけないだろ。
Nobody would believe it, right? Keiichi, this is the last time I'm going to beg you to stop what you're doing. So please, I beg you, stop!
それ、本気ですの？
Are you being serious?
ああ、
Yeah.
あの綿流しの夜からおかしいんだ。
Ever since the night of Watanagashi, everything's been messed up.
いつの間にか変な足音がペタペタとついてくるようになって。
These weird footsteps suddenly started following me everywhere. The blood drained from Satoko's expression.
足音がペタペタ。
Footsteps following you.
そうなんだ。
Yeah.
最初は気のせいだと思ってたけど、ずっとついてくるんだ。
I thought it was just my imagination at first. But they stayed with me.
多分今もついてきてる。
They're probably still there.
里子の足音と混じって、よく聞き分けられないけれど、
I can't tell them apart now because of your footsteps, though. Satoko took a long and hard look at me. Maybe she was doubting my sanity. Understandably so. I mean, seriously, stop and think about what you're actually saying. And think about it from her perspective. Coach did the same thing. I mean, why wouldn't he, after telling him this? The more I thought about it, the more I was unable to endure the feeling that my hatred for Coach had been meaningless.
綿流しの日、
On the day of Watanagashi,
俺は祭りに行かず、あることをしていたんだ。
I didn't go. I was doing something else.
ずっとだぞ。
The whole time.
眠ったり、意識がなくなったりしたことはなかった。
I wasn't sleeping or unconscious or anything.
だから寝ぼけ気分でフラフラと、記憶になく祭りに出かけたなんてことはありえない。
So it's not possible that I walked to the festival half asleep and forgot about it afterwards.
それはおかしいですわね。
That is quite strange.
なら、どうやってお祭りで遊んだんですの？
Then how were you at the festival?
だから
That's what I mean!
俺は祭りには行ってないんだよ。
I didn't go to the festival! No. I can't let myself get emotional. If I get agitated now, that'd be like proving that there was something wrong with my head. I think anybody would think that there's something wrong with your head no matter how emotional you got or didn't get.
ごめん。
Sorry.
みんなが信じてくれないんで、
Well,
つい。
nobody believes me, so... Yeah.
圭一さんがそう言うなら、信じてあげますわ。
If that is what you say, Keiichi-san, then I will believe you.
それで？
Then what?
あの夜、高野さんに会ったんだ。
At night, I saw Takano-san,
それで、見下されたと思って。
and it felt like she was looking down on me.
俺は心の中で念じたんだ。
So I made a wish.
お前なんか死んじまえって。
I wished that she would die.
高野さんって、どことなくそういう雰囲気がございますものね。
Takano-san does have that sort of air about her, doesn't she?
その気持ち、わからなくもありませんでしたよ。
I cannot say that I don't understand how you feel.
高野さんが死んだの、知ってるか？
Did you know that Takano-san died?
昨日の話だ。
It happened yesterday.
どこかで焼け死んだらしい。
Apparently she was burned alive somewhere.
それ、本当ですの？
Is that true?
死んだんですの？
She died.
俺が死ねと願うと、
I
次の日には死んでるんだ。
wished for her to die. And the next day, she was dead.
それから警察の大石ってやつも。
And Ushi from the police too.
知ってるか？
Do you know him?
ムカつく太った
That
刑
annoying
事みたいなやつ。
that annoying and fat detective guy. Satoko nodded a little.
さっき警察が話してるのを聞いたんだが、どうもあいつ
I
行
heard
方不明になってるらしい。
I heard from the police earlier. But apparently he went missing.
実は昨日あいつにも死んじまえって
And
念じて
yesterday,
たんだ。
actually, I, wished that he would die.
それ、本当の話ですの？
Is all this true?
嘘じゃない。
I'm not lying.
俺だって信じたくないけど、本当の話なんだ。
I don't want to believe it either. But it's true.
高野さんも監督も大石も、俺が死ねと念じたら本当に死んでしまったんだ。
Coach and Ushi. I wanted them dead. And then they really died. For a little while, Satoko was at a loss. A long silence ensued.
それは怖い話ですわね。
What a scary story.
圭一さんに、せめて嫌われないように気をつけませんと。
I should be sure not to get on your bad side, Keiichi-san.
それだけじゃない。
And that's not all.
もっとおかしいこともあるんだ。
There's something even stranger.
それはお前の
It's
おじなんだ。
About your uncle. If what you're about to tell her right now does not scare her and make her run away from you or something, I don't know what the fuck will.
おじさまの話はやめてくださいましな。
I would rather you not talk about my uncle.
昨日、いたんだろ。
He was there yesterday, right?
お前の家に。
At your house.
あの人の話はやめてくださいます。
Can we please stop talking about him?
嫌なんですの。
I don't want to.
ありえないんだ。
It's impossible.
あいつがいるわけがないんだ。
He couldn't have been there.
やめてって言ってますのよ。
I said stop talking about him.
いや、
No.
あ
No!
の男が綿流しの夜以降、いるわけがないんだ。
That man couldn't have been there after the night of Watanagashi.
だって
Because I...
あの男のことはもう嫌なんですの。
No! No more. Please. No more about that man.
俺が殺したんだ。
I killed him!
この手で。
With my own hands! Even the cicadas stopped crying. Her face was streaked with tears, and it stiffened even more as she looked at me in disbelief.
俺が綿流しの祭りの夜にお前の叔父を殺したんだ。
On the night of the Watanagashi festival, I killed your uncle.
だからお前の家に帰ってくるなんてことは
So,
ありえないんだ。
it's impossible that he could have gone back home. But still, he went back! And last night he found fault with the dinner you made him, yelled all sorts of things at you, and then basically boiled you in the bathtub. That couldn't possibly have happened.
だから俺はあの男を確かに殺したという証拠を確かめるために
So
埋め出したよ昨日。
I wanted to make
掘り
sure
返したんだ。
I wanted to make sure I actually killed him. So yesterday I went to dig up the corpse I buried.
だがそこには死体はなかった。
But the body wasn't there.
こんなことがありえると思うか。
Is that even possible?
確かに殺したのに死体がないんだ。
I killed him for sure, but there was no body.
そして何事もなかったかのように帰宅して
And
お前の前に
he went home like nothing happened. Home to you and
こんなことがあっていいはずないだろう。
that wasn't supposed to happen, was it? Satoko's entire body stiffened. She was shrinking away, like there was someone in front of her, about to hurt her.
お前も
You probably
俺のこと頭が変になったって思ってるんだろうな。
think I've gone a little crazy, don't you? Gee, Keiichi, that's a really, really good question. Do you think that she thinks that maybe you've gone a little crazy? Like, really, stop and think about it for a second. Think about how you've been coming off towards her, and everything you've been saying towards her for the past 3 minutes. Or 4 minutes, whatever. Do you think that maybe anybody in her situation, after being ranted to, like you've been ranting to her about what you've been ranting about, might think that maybe there might be something a little wrong upstairs in that messed up little brain of yours? The hamster in the wheel is drunk and not running in the wheel properly? Something to that effect? I would certainly think so. I would certainly think that you're more than a little crazy. So here's my question to you, good sir. Are you ready? Are you ready to do a little more running? Because I'm pretty sure she's about to run.
無理もないさ。
I don't blame you.
俺だって信じられない。
I can't believe it myself.
ケイイチさんはきっと偶然呪った人が死んでしまったんで混乱してるだけに違いありませんわ。
Keiichi-san, I think you were very confused after all the people you wished were dead coincidentally died.
監督の自殺にショックを受けて気が動転してるだけなんですのよ。
You're just in shock at Coach's suicide, and you're really upset.
今日はもう学校休んでお家で休んだ方がよろしいと思いますわ。
I think you should stay home from school today and rest.
私はもう平気ですから。どうかご自分の体を大事になさいまし。
I'll be fine. So please, take care of yourself. Satoko spoke like she understood me. But she also told me to go home. I could see the revulsion in her face. And knew she didn't want to be around me anymore.
サトコちゃんと診療所まで見送ったら俺も帰る。
Once I show you to the clinic, I'll go home.
サトコだってまだ足元がフラフラじゃないか。
Your legs are still shaking, aren't they?
途中で倒れたら大変だぞ。
It'd be terrible if you collapsed halfway there.
私はもう本当に大丈夫なんですのよ。
Really, I am fine now.
男の人にいつまでもこんな姿を晒していたくないんですのよ。
I do not want to keep exposing myself to a man any more than this. She wobbled up the shrine steps, looking like she was about to fall. I immediately ran up to her and helped her stay on her feet. But then Satoko promptly jumped away from me. That outright rejection hurt a lot. Once she got up to the top of the stairs, her breathing was ragged, and she wasn't even looking at me. At this point, I was being ignored. Well, it was more like she didn't want to have anything to do with me. It really was a feeling of rejection. And that hurt my heart more than any blade could have. This was the path I chose for her sake. To be treated like this at the end of it all was just so saddening. Don't be naive, Keiichi, my Bara. You never wanted to be repaid in the first place. You didn't do it so that Satoko would thank you. You did it so that Satoko would be happy. Do you think she's happy right now? And that was what led to this ending. Rika-chan's house was a disaster prevention storehouse used by the town council. If you went past it, a little further through the shrine grounds, you'd apparently reach the back of the assembly hall. Satoko was heading there, walking quickly, the gravel under her feet crunching as she went. Did she want to get there as soon as possible? Or did she want to run away? I couldn't tell. Both, maybe? And then I heard the vigorous sound of wings flapping, and turned around, and saw a crow. I hadn't seen many crows since coming to Hinamizawa. I saw them a lot in my old town, though. On garbage day, they'd flock to trash collection points, peck through the bags with their beaks, drag out the contents, and have a feast. As I was remembering that, I saw a few crows flocking around the shrine's donation box. And I thought how terrible it was for someone to leave a garbage bag in a place like that. Okay, that is terrible. The cicadas quieted. Breathing stopped. Thoughts ceased. Even time came to a halt. What's wrong? I ran over to where the crows were flocking. I ran there in order to drive a horrible idea out of my mind. I definitely hadn't wanted this. There's no way I would ever wish for this even by mistake. This was not. Oh, son of a bitch! Who the hell killed you? When I noticed my vicious approach, the crows all flapped upwards, fleeing into the sky. When the crows' big, black bodies flew away, they exposed the garbage bag. Tears of blood? What the hell? What had I seen there? The scene has escaped from my throat before I understood what I was looking at. What was this? Satoko came over as well, realizing something had happened. And she looked over my shoulder. Then she screamed as well. This wasn't. The garbage bag was crimson, dyed in fresh blood. Enough of the stupid roundabout way of saying it. That's right. Yes! Yes! It was Rika-chan! Our friend. Satoko's best friend! Always easygoing, clever as a cat, but so cute you couldn't hate her. Our friend. Rika-chan. She was... Rika-chan was stark naked. She was face up, limbs sprawled. Her eyes were like glass, just staring up into the sky. And Rika! Satoko broke down crying on the spot. And yet, she still couldn't approach her friend's remains. The crows had gone through the garbage bag and dragged out an apple peel and spread it all over. No. Crows. They couldn't do this. On the spot, I started vomiting. The sour taste became a bitter one as I threw up over and over again. Rika-chan, her stomach was cut wide open vertically, completely open. No, I forget. Wasn't the first corpse we saw in this chapter, didn't they also have their guts cut open vertically or something? Crows. Crows couldn't have done this. And from her open stomach, her organs, her bowels were dragged out like children's toys left all over the floor. That unbelievable sight induced oxygen deprivation in my brain. Color left my vision, a pounding headache, dizzy, and I wanted to vomit. It was like the nightmarish remains of a ceremonial killing. Someone somewhere had killed Rika-chan, brought her here, laid her here with her limbs sprawled out, and then cut open her stomach and dragged out her intestines. Red and pink viscera were sticking out of her gut, and her intestines were scattered in every direction like it had been for fun. The entire ground was covered in an ocean of red and black. A few of the crows had hopped around inside that ocean. They walked through the sea of blood, leaving bloody footprints. And those footprints were several. There were several. Several still left on Rika-chan's body. Those sinister prints made it seem even more like a bizarre ritual killing. I may have wished for Takano-san and Coach and Ushi to die, but I didn't remember ever wishing for Rika-chan's death.
そうさ、俺じゃない。
Yeah,
俺じゃない。
it wasn't me. It wasn't me.
俺じゃない。
It wasn't me. I stumbled backwards, then stepped on a newspaper. A newspaper? In a place like this? The newspaper was what was covering my hatchet. Cue Satoko turning around, seeing you with the hatchet, and then assuming you hatcheted Rika-chan to death. Oh shit. Oh shit. I kept it wrapped up on my belt in order to carry Satoko. And that newspaper had fallen off. Sheesh. Don't scare me like that. I bent down to pick it up. And then Satoko looked at me with such disbelief as I'd never seen, and froze. She was looking straight at me, at the hatchet, on my belt.
Satoko.
Calm down, Satoko.
これは違うぞ。
This isn't what it looks like. Satoko, trembling madly, backed away.
俺じゃない。
It wasn't me.
俺じゃないんだ。
It wasn't me.
俺じゃ。
It wasn't. Murderer. She didn't care at all that she was exposing herself through the towel. She just trembled and tried to step back from the demon in front of her.
サトコ、落ち着いてくれ。
Satoko, please calm down.
頼むから。
Please,
冷静になってくれ。
relax. Satoko! Screaming weakly, Satoko began to run, unsteadily. Run. Away, that is.
待ってくれ、サトコ。
Wait! Please wait! Satoko!
違うんだ。
You're wrong!
違うんだ。
That's not it! The way she ran away, it was so weak, so slow. If I wanted to go after her, I could have caught up. But if I tried to grab Satoko's shoulder or something right now, she might actually go crazy. So I had to follow her and try to clear this up.
高野さんを殺して、
You killed Takano-san
監督を殺して、
and Coach
大石さんも殺したんでございましょう。
and Ushi-san, didn't you?
おじさまを殺そうとして、リカまで。
You killed my uncle. And then you killed Rika! You murderer!
違う。
No!
俺じゃない。
It wasn't me!
俺は殺してなんかいない。
I didn't kill her!
何を言ってるんですの？
What are you saying?
あなたさっき自分で言ったじゃありませんの。
You just said it yourself, did you not?
死ねって。死んでしまえって。
You wanted them to die.
それでみんな死んでしまったんでしょ？
And then everyone died, didn't they?
俺は
Well, no!
死ねって思っただけで。
Just wishing that they were dead. That couldn't.
自分で何をしたか記憶に残っていないんでございましょう？
You don't even remember what you did, do you?
そんな人の話なんか信用できるわけありませんわ。
How can I trust a person like you?
人を殺した時の記憶が欠落してるだけなんじゃありませんの？
Didn't your memory of killing them just slip your mind?
いや、記憶がないふりをしてるだけなんじゃありませんの？
No. Maybe you're only pretending not to remember.
第一、 そのナタは何なんですのよ。
Besides, what is that hatchet for?
説明してごらんなさいな。
Try explaining that!
これは
It's for...
ほらほらほら。
See? See?
ケイイチさんは殺人鬼じゃありませんの。
Keiichi-san, you are a killer, aren't you?
どうしてですの？
Why did you do it?
ちょっと意地悪だったけど、楽しくて優しい。一度は本当のニーニーかもしれないとまで思ったのに。
You were a little mean, but you were fun and kind. And once I even thought you might be my real Nini.
どうしてそんな風になってしまったんですの？
Why did you turn into this? I might have been able to slowly answer each one of Satoko's questions at a time. But in this situation, explain my innocence in such a short period of time was impossible. I mean, I didn't even know if I was really innocent anyway. At the very least, I killed Satoko's uncle. There was no body, but I killed him! Without a doubt. At that point, I was far from innocent. And I wished Takano-san, Coach, and Ushi were dead. And that curse of mine was granted. When I wished for Takano-san to die, I didn't think of it as anything more than a normal thing you'd say to someone you didn't like. But then she actually did die. And I realized that if I wanted people to die, they would. And hoping it would happen again, I cursed Coach and Ushi to the same fate. So, even ignoring Takano-san's death, Coach and Ushi's were completely premeditated crimes. Was I a killer, just like Satoko said? Was I unable to distinguish between illusion and reality, and turned into a demon without remembering it, becoming a killer who carried out Urashiro-sama's curse? No, it couldn't be. It was impossible. Ah, damn it! The very word impossible was impossible in Hinamizawa right now. How many freaking times have I said that word these past 3 days? Satoko had started crying again, and was walking unsteadily. At first it felt like she was still running, but now it was like she was walking away crying from someone bullying her.
どうして？
Why?
どうしてこんなことになってしまったんですの？
Why did things turn out this way?
どうして？どうして？
Why? Why? If there was an answer to that, then I wanted to know it too. Why? Why had it turned out like this?
ニーニーがいなくなってずっと寂しかったけど。
After Nini went away, I was lonely for a long time.
ケイイチさんが転校してきてくれて、またみんな明るくなって。
But then Keiichi-san transferred to our school, and everyone was happy again.
楽しくなって、毎日が
It was fun
勝って
again.
たのに。
Every day was beautiful. Yeah, she was right. Those days were bright and beautiful. And yet, after that, Satoko and I shouted the exact same thing.
どうしてこんなことに。
How did it turn out like this? The cicadas were sneering at the spectacle, our strange game of tag. Shut up, shut up, shut up! Eventually, I heard the murmuring of a stream. The forest parted, and a suspension bridge appeared. So this is the bridge I saw at the very beginning of the first episode of this chapter. Satoko was crossing dangerously, wobbling as though she might fall at any moment. And when I stepped onto the bridge, it swayed a lot, causing Satoko to stagger and fall on the spot.
大丈夫かサトコ
Satoko, are you okay?
近寄らないで
Don't come near me!
人殺し
You murderer! Satoko shouted, her hatred made very clear. It was sad, if words could cut, and this warmth flowing from my eyes would have been blood for sure.
どうしてこうなってしまったんですの
Why did you turn out this way?
ケイチさんのこと
Keiichi-san,
大好きだったのに
I really liked you. I wanted to go up to her and give her a hand. But the distance between us was uncrossable. If I got any closer, Satoko would start shouting again. And saying things that would hurt me deeply again. So I couldn't approach any closer than this.
サトコ
Satoko,
俺にもなんでこうなったか
I don't
わからないんだ
know how things turned out like this
で
either.
もこれだけは言える
I can say this.
リカちゃんを殺したのは俺じゃないんだ
I wasn't the one who killed Rika-chan.
それだけは絶対に
At least that is true.
いい加減なこと言わないでほしいですわ
Please stop being so absurd.
自分の記憶にも自信が持てない人が何を言ったってどう信じればいいって言うんですの
How can you expect me to believe anything someone who can't even rely on his own memories has to say? She's really got you there, Keiichi. I tightened my hands into fists. This was mortifying. I wasn't crazy. Hidemazawa was crazy. Ever since I wandered into it, lost, on that one night. This insane world. Where I was at the festival when I wasn't, and the uncle I killed was alive. Where death could come just by wishing for it. It was this world's fault. Mion and Reina started acting strangely, like they were possessed by something too. And Coach wouldn't believe anything I had to say. And even Satoko, who I should have protected, was yelling at me like this. Was the price for killing a man supposed to be this high? It's like I told you before. Prepare for unforeseen consequences. For you especially. You short-sighted fool. Was I really going to be forced to stay in such a bitter world? I did the right thing! No, you didn't. And that's truly the most tragic part about all this, is that you don't recognize that. It doesn't matter how well-meaning you were. You didn't do the right thing at all. At least I wanted to. So then, why? I hated it. Every time I asked why. The day Satoko and I enjoyed in peace went so wrong.
サトコ信じてくれ
Satoko, please believe me.
俺は人殺しじゃない
Not a murderer.
ではそのナタは何なんですの
Then what is that hatchet for?
納得のいく説明はできまして
Can you give a convincing explanation for that?
このナタが怖いのか
Is this hatchet scaring you?
じゃあ捨てるよ
Okay, I'll throw it away.
それなら安心だろ
That's what you want, right? Satoko didn't nod, but she seemed to be in agreement with that proposition. I clumsily took the hatchet out of my belt, and then dropped it over the side of the bridge into the stream below.
捨てたぞ
There, it's gone.
これで話を聞いてくれるな
No, you'll listen to me, right?
武器を捨てたぐらいで気を許すと思いまして。
You think I'll let my guard down? Just because you got rid of your weapon?
圭一さんほどの方なら私を素手で絞め殺すなんて簡単でしょうに。
Keiichi-san, you're strong. It would be easy for you to strangle me with your bare hands. Like hell I would. Never want to kill Satoko. You idiot. You're the idiot here.
じゃあどうしたらいい？
What should I do?
両手を頭の上で組んだらいいか？
Should I put my hands on my head?
そうですわね。
Yes, why don't you?
両手を頭の上で組んで後ろを向いてくださいます。
Please, put your hands on your head and face the other way. It was a cunning plan, much like the one she used during club activities. Putting my hands on my head and turning away would mean I couldn't attack Satoko very easily. I immediately acquiesced to her request, since it would make her feel better.
これでいいか？
Is this alright?
俺の話を聞いてくれ。
Please listen to what I have to say. Satoko stood up, and then carefully approached me from behind. And then, she actually came right up behind me. She was so close, and yet I was so sad that I wasn't allowed to turn around.
圭一さんが悪くないのはなんとなく薄々分かっていましたわ。
I sort of think I understand that it isn't your fault, Keiichi-san.
え？
Huh?
多分あなたは何か悪いものに乗り移られただけなんですの。
I think probably you've just been possessed by something evil. What are you gonna do?
さっきまでは圭一さんが殺人鬼なんだと思ってたけど、
Until before,
分かりましたの。
I thought Keiichi-san was a killer. But now I know,
あなたの目を見ていたら
after looking at your eyes, I could hear that Satoko was still crying, but her voice was gentle just the same.
圭一さんが人殺しなんかするわけがない。
Keiichi-san could never kill anyone.
圭一さんの体を何か悪いものが乗っ取って悪事に駆り立てただけ。
Something simply possessed his body and made him do evil things. So we're going to this whole possession theory again, huh? So basically what you guys thought happened to me back in chapter 2 has happened to me here now in chapter 3. I don't think that's what this is, because he remembers... No. I think it's more likely he hallucinated his murder act. As for everybody else's deaths, could very well just be freaky coincidence, honestly, that they all ended up dying. Honestly, I'm still not convinced that Keiichi really had anything to do with their deaths. Was she speaking literally right now? Or was she trying to admonish me? I couldn't tell.
思えばひょっとすると
Come to think of it, maybe.
あの人たちも圭一さんと同じものに乗り移られていたのかもしれない。
Maybe they were possessed, just like Keiichi-san.
あの時は殺されるとしか思わなかったから、そこまでは考えが及ばなかったけど。
At the time, I was only thinking I would be killed, so I didn't think about it.
今ならわかる。
But now I understand.
あれは乗り移った何か悪いものの仕業だった。
That was the work of something evil that possessed you.
サトコ？
Satoko?
何の
What
話だ？
are you? It was less like she was talking to me. More like she was talking to herself. Like she was confessing at my back.
わかってるんですの。 私。
I understand, you know. What? What do you mean by you understand? That you know what it's like to be possessed by something and do horrible things? Is that what you mean?
身に覚えがないわけじゃないんですのよ。
It isn't like I haven't experienced it myself. Satoko's voice started to become mixed with sobs. Her pained voice tore at my heart. But I didn't know what Satoko was talking about.
西宮殿の屋根によじ登ったことがありますの。
I climbed to the top of the ritual storehouse once.
何年も前のことですわ。
It was a few years ago. Once, when Satoko was playing hide-and-seek at the shrine grounds, she climbed onto the roof of the storehouse for ritual implements, which everyone said not to go near, and hid. Then, Satoko saw that she could get in through a window meant for ventilation. For Satoko, the word curse was plenty scary, but she was more curious about what was inside the unknown storehouse. And she saw all the stuff they had in there. Right. She removed the grating on the window, which was already hanging off, slid her small body into it, and climbed down inside. It was too dark to see much, but after descending, she realized just how high up she'd been. Despite the darkness, she could see a few things around her thanks to the faint light coming in from the air window. And to her disappointment, it was just a regular old storehouse. She tried to leave, but the door was locked up tight from the outside and was made not to open from within. She would have to go back out through the ventilation window she'd come in from. But the window was high on the wall, and there was no way she would be able to climb back up. Then how did you get out? Satoko desperately tried not to cry, and racked her brain thinking of a way to get up there. There were a lot of birdcage-looking things hanging by chains from the ceiling. She took the hanging chains and strung them along the wall. As she climbed up the bundle of chains, she might be able to manage to climb up the ventilation window. There was nothing else she could do, so she had to try. And try she did. It was dark and creepy, and she didn't want to stay there forever. The more she thought about that, the more she panicked. She climbed the bundle of chains. Satoko could hear the clinks and clangs of everything creaking under her weight. And then, just as her hand reached the window, one of the metal fixtures she used to stick the chains on the wall flew off, and the chains all began to pull loudly and furiously every which way. Spurred on by the sounds behind her, she managed to get back onto the roof from the window. Because of the weight of the flailing bundle of chains, the other fixtures broke. And then one of the big bird cages hanging from the ceiling fell to the floor with a huge noise. Under it was an image of Orishiro-sama, his vessel, and the cage took off one of the arms and trapped some other implements beneath it. I see. So you're thinking that with you unintentionally damaging that statue, you must have been cursed, right? It didn't take very long for her to grow scared of what she'd done. The deafening noise could be heard from the rest of the shrine grounds. A few other children heard it and gathered around. And of course, Rika was one of them. Then, Rika's father, the shrine priest, with an angry look, ran over. And then, as for what happened next, it was painful to remember. The only one who knew where Rika's parents kept the key to the ritual storehouse was Rika. So, he scolded her, saying that this happened because Rika pulled a prank and hid me in there. He was very angry and menacing. Just looking at him was enough to frighten anyone. He exposed Rika's back, took a strangely shaped ritual cane or something, and struck her with it several times. Yikes. Rika's words. At the time, "It wasn't me. It wasn't me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry." That pitiful voice. I still can't get it out of my head. I should have said it was me. I should have said so, to save my best friend from that false accusation, without being afraid of Rika-chan's father's terrible temper. Rika gritted her teeth and cried, at the crime she didn't remember doing. Ever since then, the world had been strange.
わかってるんですの、私には。
I know. I understand.
これは、お社様のたたりだって。
This is Oishiro-sama's curse.
あの時、最後伝を怪我して、親友を見捨てた私への天罰だって。
His judgment for messing up the ritual storehouse and forsaking my best friend.
お社様のたたり。
Oishiro-sama's curse.
父も母も、濁流に消えた。
My father and mother too. They vanished in that muddy stream.
意地悪だったおばも死んだけど、誰よりも私を可愛がってくれた。ニーニーも、私を捨てて、家出してしまった。
My mean aunt died too. But then Nini, who loved me more than anyone, ran away from home.
そして、
And then,
圭一さんが転校してきて、やっと楽しい毎日が戻ってきたと思ったのに、今度は圭一さんが取り憑かれて。
Keiichi-san transferred in, and I thought I'd finally gotten my fun life back. But this time, Keiichi-san was possessed.
リカも殺されて。
And even Rika got killed.
聞いたの私。
There's something I heard once.
お社様は、本当にたたりをなすときは、本人をすぐに殺さないんだって。
Orishiro-sama. When he really curses someone, he doesn't kill them right away.
親しい人から順に殺して、みんな殺してから、最後に殺すんだって。
He goes in order of your closest friends, and after killing them all, he kills that person last.
だから、圭一さんもたたりにやられて。
So, Keiichi-san, the curse got you too.
きっと、今度はレナさんやミオンさんがたたられてしまうんですわ。
I'm sure that Rina-san and Mion-san will be cursed next.
そして、殺したり、殺されたり。
And then, they'll kill, and be killed.
もう嫌。
No, no more. Jesus Christ, somebody give this poor gal a hug.
落ち着けよ、サトコ。
Just calm down, Satoko.
たたりなんかない。
There is no curse.
誰もお前をいじめたりなんかしないって。
Nobody's trying to torment you. When I turned around, I was thrust away with amazing force. Given my hands were awkwardly placed on my head, I couldn't take the fall and lost my balance. And I'd been pushed not onto the bridge, but to the side. It's been nice knowing you, Keiichi. Again. Towards the stream. No, this can't be happening. Ah! As one last miracle, I was allowed to grab a cord hanging from the bridge. Far below me was the stream. We were pretty high up, and below were rocks of all sizes. If I fell, it clearly wouldn't be pretty. The entire bridge was tilting under my body weight. My frail little grip probably wouldn't last another minute before my fingers had to let go.
Satoko!
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 Satoko! I didn't understand myself. What I meant by shouting her name then. Was I asking her to save me? Or was I asking her why she did this? Finally, everything came back into focus, and I saw Satoko. And I was surprised at what an odd expression she had. It was the first time I'd seen it. It was an expression of righteous anger, meant only for those who needed to die. Die, you murderer! Give him back! Give back my Nini! Give back Rika and Mommy! And Keiichi-san! As she screamed, she jerked the bridge to and fro. She didn't have to do that. I was going to fall anyway. I won't lose to the likes of you. I won't lose to some stupid curse. I will never ever lose to you. You took everyone, and I will never lose to you. Not ever!
Satoko,
Satoko,
これだけは聞いてくれ。
please, just let me say one thing. I didn't know what my face looked like at the time, but it seemed like it was enough to quell Satoko's agitation.
俺のしたことは確かに褒められるものじゃない。
I know that what I did isn't exactly praiseworthy.
いや、いけないことだったかもしれない。
No. In fact, maybe I should never have done it at all.
だけど、お前に幸せになってほしくって
But
したことだったんだ。
I did it because I wanted you to be happy.
それだけは信じてくれ。
Please, just believe that.
こいつ
You,
最後の最後でケイイチさんのふりを
at the very end, you're still pretending to be Keiichi-san. Satoko didn't seem to have any more desire to listen to what I had to say. And for that to happen at the very end like this was tragic.
お前に褒められたくてやったわけじゃなかった。
I didn't do any of it so you would praise me.
お前に幸せになってさえもらえればよかった。
If it made you happy, that was all that mattered.
俺たちはダメなんだ。
We were nothing
お前が笑っていないと
without your
ダ
smile.
メなんだ。
We were nothing.
だから俺が消えたら
So,
笑ってくれ。
after I disappear, please smile.
俺が死ぬことで新しい生活を迎えたならきっと笑ってくれ。
If you can get on with your new life by my dying, then please, just smile.
それだけ約束してくれないか。
Can't you? At least promise me that.
喋るな。
Stop speaking!
ケイイチさんの口調で喋るな。
Don't use Keiichi-san's mouth like that!
落ちろ。
Fall down!
落ちてしまえ。
Oh dear. And those were The last words Satoko ever said to me. Those sad, tragic, and altogether unrewarding words. What on earth was I? A well-meaning fool. My desire to make Satoko happy ended up like this. Where did I first go wrong? And what was the mistake I made? Your mistake was plotting to kill. And maybe in your head anyway. Her uncle. When did I make it? Was I the crazy one? Or was Hinamizawa? Even after all this, I thought I wasn't crazy at all. It was this Irie world that was crazy. This world I accidentally wandered into that one night. Because that fun world, where I never doubted all the crazy times we had as a club would go on forever. It couldn't possibly have transformed into such an abnormal world. That fun world wouldn't have ever ended with this. With Satoko pushing me to my death. In the end, I was going to be swallowed up by this crazy world and disappear. No, I probably already disappeared. Yes, probably. On the night of Watanegashi. I'm sure that in the world I really belonged to, I had vanished that night and everyone was worried. It was laughable that I had taken this long to figure out I wasn't around anymore. Reassure-sama's curse on the 5th year was Satoko's uncle dying and me disappearing. In the real world, Satoko had already been freed. Maybe my friends were all lamenting my disappearance and valiantly trying to get back on their feet. And even though they were down to 4 people, the club would reopen and they would have a good time without me, waiting for the day when I would come back. I'm sorry, everyone. I couldn't come back home. But this is what I wished for. It was my wish for Satoko's smile, and my duty as her Nini. At this point, there'll be nobody left to torture you. Because it's Oshi and I. It took 2 years, but we succeeded. That annoying toothy smile of yours. We wanted to see it. One more time. My pain wasn't gentle or merciful. It was a sharp pain, violent, powerful, and ruthless. What little compassion I had receded in the span of a moment. And now, I could die. I could say goodbye to this insane world. Farewell, crazy Hinamizawa. Thanks for giving me the psychic power to kill people whenever I wanted. If you'll still allow it, I'll wish for one last thing. The death of this very world. Of this crazed Hinamizawa. So that nobody would ever again have to find themselves lost here again. New tips unlocked. Research notes number 2. There's still more? Let me look at this tip. Research notes. Oishiro-sama. Nobody really knows what characters to use to write Oishiro-sama. Knowing this is pretty hard, partly because depending on the time period, he's been called with various titles, with subtle changes to his name, and nobody knows the real one. The only thing all time periods agree on is that the 4 syllables O, Ya, Shi, and Ro were always used. There is a theory stating the shrine, or Yasuhiro, or Yashiro, dedicated to Oishiro-sama, itself became an object of worship, and that people began calling it O Yashiro-sama, or Lord Honorable Shrine. But this doesn't make a bit of sense. I don't know whether this is related, but people say the Furude family, the most respected bloodline in terms of worshipping Oishiro-sama, actually inherited his blood. And in the language the Furude family passes on, if for 8 generations in a row the firstborn child is a girl, the 8th daughter will be the reincarnation of Oishiro-sama. Fascinating. So who is the 8th daughter? If we go by this legend, the characters used for Oishiro-sama's name would be O for honorable, Ya for 8, and Shiro for generation. Honorable 8th generation. These character assignments are simply something I've thought up. There is no way to verify it. If this is true, then Oishiro-sama would have been named as such under the assumption he would come again. The second coming of an object of worship can be seen in several religions, so this isn't unusual. But a few of these religions call the second coming of their object of worship a day of judgment or something along those lines. And we must not forget they mean it to be the end of the world. Rika Furude, pampered and loved dearly by the elderly folk in the village. The rumors say she is the 8th generation, and Oishiro-sama. Well, then why would she put herself in a situation now where she could get herself killed? Not once, but twice, in Chapter 1 and Chapter 3. I don't know. I don't think that this is... I don't think she's Oishiro-sama. It doesn't make sense to me that she would just kill herself with her own curse. I do not know the family tree of the Furudes, but at the very least, I can confirm that for the past two generations, the first child has been a girl. Rika Furude watches over Hinamizawa. If the village were to lose her protection, what would happen? Would peace between man and demon be lost? Would it once again create a hellish landscape where man-eating demons run rampant? A gruesome feast of the demons, who suddenly remembered how delicious the weak humans were, who would only cry, scream, and run for their lives. What would that look like? Just imagining it is enough to make my heart pound with excitement. Excitement is not the emotion that would be in my heart in that situation, my friend, whoever you are. You are a interesting one. Well, that was a very interesting tip. I knew it was going to end in tragedy, but it still sucks to see things end like this. But then again, we have a continue point after this, so this is not technically over now, is it? But for Keiichi, anyway, it's just... I knew this was coming. I saw it coming a mile away. And yet, I so desperately wished that he could just do any of the things I begged him to do. Mainly just stop and truly think about what he's doing. How people would react to him, especially the one he wanted to protect the most, Satoko. And whether or not him actually going to kill her uncle would really be the right thing to do for her, especially. But it just seems like somewhere along the way, he lost it. He fucking lost it. But what I find interesting, though, is how similar his madness felt to his growing paranoia in Chapter 1. It feels almost exactly similar in a lot of ways. Like how some of the club members treated him and reacted towards him at times, at least how he perceived it. If it's the same thing, if it's, well, I want to say that something was inflicted on him, but I don't know what the hell it could be. It's not, like I kept saying, it's not like he experienced some kind of serious mental trauma before going off the deep end, or anything like that. And he wasn't given fuel to just become exceedingly paranoid like in Chapter 1. So just what... And I can understand just getting angry at Satoko's situation, but everything that followed from when he snapped just felt extreme, even for that. For seeing Satoko in the sad state that she was in. And then everything afterward, it's just like he seemed to have lost more than just his freaking temper. He just seems to have lost all semblance of reality. Or because after a while, I was at the beginning, I was thinking maybe he did either imagine things or wound up somehow in a parallel world in equal measure. But as things went on, I start leaning more towards him having just simply lost it. Because clearly we saw evidence that he was out in the forest. And yet at the same time, he apparently wasn't, according to what everyone else said. But that doesn't make sense. It doesn't... The more I stop and think about little details like this, the more confused I get. Because I really don't know what to make of some of this stuff. Well, I don't know. I think what I'll do is I'll just cut the episode off here, and then I'll guess we'll see what we have left after this next time. What a fucking tragedy that this chapter has been. Although honestly, everything up until this point has been a tragedy. It'd be nice if we could see these people get a happy ending for once. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this latest episode of Higurashi When They Cry, Chapter 3. If you did and you want to see more content from me, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I will see you all next time. Take care.